Hi everybody, my name is Alan. On behalf of the crew, I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Bridging Heaven and Earth. You know, every show we talk about, similar things. We talk about how can we connect? How can we connect to love? How can we connect to truth? How can we connect to each other? And, there are a lot of spokes on that wheel, and there are a lot of different aspects of it in a sense. I mean, maybe there's one root, but there are different aspects of it. And tonight, it just seemed to me when I was, driving over here when we were setting up to do the show tonight, I just started thinking about the children. All the children, not the children of the whites, not the children of the blacks, not the children of America, not the children of Africa or Western Europe or Iraq or anyone. What are we who are watching this show, we who are maybe in a way not in physical bodies children anymore, what are we going to leave the children? What kind of earth are we going to leave the children, and what kind of feeling of understanding, of brotherhood, of tolerance, of love as participants in this great experiment on earth are we going to leave the children? And you look at it now, and as I've said many times before, I could tell you what date we're shooting the show, although you might be watching it anytime, really, so it's hard to say when you'll be watching it. But there will be conflict somewhere. There will be, well, maybe not. Maybe, hopefully, whenever you're watching it, there won't be, and there'll be really true peace on earth, not just the absence of war, but an experience of true connectedness, of true love, of truly that we are all the same love, that we are all brothers and sisters, that every child is each one of our children. But the way it's going, maybe when you're watching the show in the next week, month, year, it won't be quite there yet. But what can we do today to make certain, or to make an attempt to bring that into fruition, to bring into that recognition for all of us, one additional step, one additional connection of that they are all our children. Every one of them is our child. From the kids in Africa with AIDS, to everyone, to the droughts and the starving and the Palestinians and the Israelis, and even the children who are learning to be suicide bombers. How did they get there? How did they come out of the womb, this incredible bundle of consciousness of love, and 5, 6, 10, 12, 13 years later become suicide bombers? How does that hate come in so strongly? And yet our job here on Bridging Heaven and Earth, and as we live this life, is to somehow touch that knowing, the knowing that we are all the same love, that we are all that truth. So tonight we have videos and a guest tonight whose lives are dedicated, who've just had extraordinary experience and extraordinary lives, and their real joy, their real connection is in bringing those feelings of oneness, of truth, of love to children. Steve Savage is a Native American spiritual teacher. He's a radio and television personality. He's the former middleweight kickboxing champion of the world. He's an 8th degree black belt. But his real love, his real joy in whatever he does, in the incredible music he plays with the flute and the guitar, is to share that understanding, that connection that he has been graced to have with the children, to awaken the children, to let the children know that whatever we think is the difference between us, it is really not that they are all our children. Everyone is our child. And we have two, most of you have seen Carlos on the show. Carlos Reynosa is a great friend of Bridging Heaven and Earth, and he's been on before, and his videos have been on before, and he's just, one of our true friends and associates and comrades. And he has 2 videos that are just magnificent, Follow the Children and One Bright Day. They're from his video, Life, Love, and Earth. And all of it tonight is maybe to touch into us about just that phrase, they are all our children, every one of them. So as we normally do at this time, please join me in a meditation. We'll get settled in, we'll have the video, Steve will be with us, and it's really another opportunity for us all. So thank you. Thank you very much. So we're going to start tonight's show with one of Carlos Reynosa's videos, Follow the Children. He shot the video. He's an extraordinary photographer and videographer too, besides being a singer and a songwriter and a musician. And so it's from the video, Life, Love, and Earth, Carlos Reynosa. Hi, thank you. So we're on the set with Steve. Welcome, Steve. It's great to have you.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Good. So you had extraordinary experience as a child. Your father, your grandfather was a Yaqui Indian.
Yes, that's right.
Take you off into the...
Well, yes, he did. What he did is, on my 9th birthday, there wasn't a lot of time because he was getting old. He was a fighter with Pancho Villa, and at the time there was no borders. He was a cowboy, and he worked all the ranches, but he took me out into the desert of Arizona and gave me some peyote and spoke with me with his eyes and his hands. He spoke a broken English, broken Spanish, and broken ancient Yaqui language, but I knew everything, exactly what he was talking about, how to be humble, how to live with mankind, how the world began, where it was going, and how we should live our lives. The following year, we started working with handicapped children, and from that point on to this day, I'm still helping underprivileged children and handicapped children with my martial arts, teaching them horseback, teaching them guitar and other musical
And you
instruments.
also, I mean, had it, you know, directly in your family. They are all our children, but I mean, you had a brother who was paralyzed. Or...
Yes. When he's 6 years younger than me, when I was 15, he was 9. He had was paralyzed from the neck down. Within a couple of days, this had happened from what we thought was a flu to all of a sudden he was about ready to die. He was taken to the hospital. I went in and saw him. He was in a room that was sealed off, and all I could do was see through the window, and all he could do was look at me and cry and move his head back and forth. And after he was quarantined, we went in and we spoke with him, and I said, listen, we have Chuck Norris here, we have Bruce Lee, Frank Yamashita, Fumio Demuro, on all the masters of martial arts. My dad, his father is the grandmaster of the Lima Lama Kung Fu Association and founder and vice president, which was formed in 1960. And we went in, and the physical therapist couldn't help him any further than what they had. And I said to my brother, you need to sit up. You need to do something. You need to use whatever strength you got to sit up, because these masters are going to come in and they're going to shake hands with you. And I realized that this is going to hurt, but you got to do something. And he pulled himself up where a moment ago he couldn't move anything but just his neck. Within 4 years, we started working with him on a regular basis, and then he was moved to Rancho Los Amigos, which is a handicap hospital for children. It's 1 mile square in Downey. And what we did, we started, every master of every style started sending black belts there to help the children. We got my brother from being paralyzed to getting into a wheelchair, off a wheelchair into crutches and braces. By the time he was 13, became a black belt and was throwing my dad through the air in front of Empire
Magazine. He has no ill effects from that at this point?
Well, other than slightly shorter leg, he has none whatsoever. Wow. Now he's a bodybuilder with arms that are like 24-inch arms, and he's into the...
Thank God for that.
So what we've
come a long way.
So what we've done is, during that time, we've seen some horrific accidents, birth defects. While I was helping my brother, we were teaching other handicapped children and becoming somebody and going beyond. We had this one child, African American boy, his hands were stuck like this. His hands had like a brittle bone disease, and he couldn't move his hands, couldn't move his arms. And what we did was put a sling under his body and slowly put weight under his hands. Within a year, he was doing 10 push-ups on his own.
Wow.
And now he's a bodybuilder, and he's in the military. He still has the bone disease, but he's a Remington Raider and does a lot of typing and everything. But he made it through, and there's a lot of other children that had made it through.
So you find that is really where your passion lies, to help the children and...
Yes. Well, it's not just handicapped children. We find that we have a lot of underprivileged children that come from poor families that just don't have the funds to become something. And what we do is, by teaching them martial arts for free, we also teach the parents martial arts for free and give them a special lessons too, because we all need that.
Is this
experience.
a national program or a local program?
This is a local program. Actually, it's an international program. It's here in California, in Southern California, and then it goes through the Tahitian, Polynesian Islands, Hawaiian Islands, Mexico, and Central America.
Wow, that's amazing. So when I said you were an 8th degree black belt, is that in a certain form of?
Lima Lama Kung Fu, which was founded by my dad, and Tino Tia Lasega, who was in 1965 was the highest ranking black belt in the United States. He passed the torch to my dad and made him the Grand Master last year, because he himself has had 4 heart attacks and no longer can speak, but his heart's there.
Yeah, right, his consciousness is there. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's interesting how that can work like that. So, I mean, like the masters that we've seen, or like a Bruce Lee, I mean, was he doing a certain style of Kung Fu, or?
Yes.
Is it a similar style to the one you use?
Our style of Kung Fu was founded, like I said, by Tino and my dad and a couple other Polynesians. So it's the first American martial art ever in the world. We were the ones who started full contact fighting. And this was back in the early 70s. By 1976, I was world champion kickboxer middleweight division.
I thought that was, what was Chuck Norris? Because he was a middleweight too.
Well, he was...
I know he was said he's a world champion.
Well, he was for 4 years in a row, but this was Kiss Contact at the time. And Kiss Contact was, you go to the internationals in Long Beach, which they still hold today every year.
Right.
And it's just making contact. It's a Kiss Contact. You see the contact, but sometimes they call it, sometimes they don't, even though you can see a redness.
Right.
If they didn't see it, they didn't see it.
Right.
And full contact means we're knocking you out.
Wow.
Makes a big difference.
I would say it would make a big difference. So yours was the full contact
Yes.
one. I see. So you and he would never get in the same ring because he was in the Kiss Contact.
I have too much respect for Chuck. He's known me since I was a child.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting story. So how do you find yourself now, wanting to take it out and expanding that gift that you're giving the children?
Well, every day we find somebody that, again, it's either underprivileged or a handicapped child, either mentally or physically or emotionally. And we require that they learn something from us. Not only are we going to teach them free martial arts, it's also you have to do things like maybe make your bed at home, take care of your room, keep it clean, help around the house. If you see a piece of paper laying on the floor, don't walk over it, pick it up. I want to get a good response from your mom. I want to get a good response from your teacher and your principal. If you're doing good in school.
Is this set up at all with the schools so it can be expanded out that way?
No, it's directly with the teacher and the parent, because not all schools have a program. And since it's for free, we're not really concerned, whether we're going to be working with the school, because then we'll be getting overwhelmed with too many kids. Mm-hmm. As we hear about it, we'll be more than happy to handle it.
Yeah, I was just thinking, is there a way, are there like these kind of dojos all over the country and world?
Well, yes, there is. Yes, every dojo will work and step up to the plate and take care of those type of children. It happens
under this.
Yes.
This format.
Yes, under the same format.
Yeah.
I can be reached if somebody wanted to call and ask questions at an 805 area code.
Yeah, I'll give them the number at the end, so they'll contact me.
And through that, then we can set up a time limit where we would actually go out. If the child can't come to a dojo, then we may go to the child's home and teach privately. And also the child gets to bring a friend or a brother or a sister, and that child will be taught martial arts for free, because after I teach the child hasn't anybody to really work out with. So by bringing a second person in, now that means two people have to do very good at school and very good at home.
Right.
Before they
then everybody sees that these people are changing.
And then it goes from there.
Right.
And everybody always benefits from it.
Yeah,
because it's a philosophy of not only taking care of yourself mentally, physically, and emotionally, and being strong. It builds confidence. And
are there any like quiet time components or meditation components?
Absolutely. That's needed, because without that, there may be turmoil in that child's life that we don't know about. It could be from either the parents, it could be from the children, abuse from
the environment,
the kids, anything. It could be from
schools,
anything. It's just from watching television and what they're seeing on TV, either on the news or the programming. So by giving meditation and spiritual awareness and using the martial arts, they understand when they grow up, they become humble and very, very confident.
It's a good combination. Humble and confident at the same time. Self-worth and humble. That's a good plan. And you find that once you start on these programs, that friends of friends of friends of friends, so it just starts mushrooming that way, because
absolutely,
being confident feels better than being not confident.
That's right, and it helps with their bodybuilding, because A lot of children, they're small or they're slightly overweight. So by teaching them martial arts, we also teach them a physical fitness, what to do for themselves to be able to beat that problem that they have. If it's overweight, there's some sit-ups, there's some jogging, there's different things that they can do. If it's bodybuilding, then they're a little on the thin side, push-ups is the #1 priority. It builds up their strength. It's a full body exercise when they're done properly. And we start them off with at least 3 a day to 10 a day to work up to about 200 a day.
Really? Wow.
And by that time, you could take a small child, and by the time they were finished with elementary school, they got the confidence. You can see
wonderful. And in your life, I mean, you've done some, extraordinary things to get you to the point now. You're in the armed forces, and then you were in the presidential.
Well, what happened in 1971, I volunteered for the Marine Corps because I was a second-degree black belt at the time. I wanted to go to Force Recon, go to Vietnam. What happened is that I was.
Glad there were people like you, because I shouldn't want to go, but that's.
What happened? I was taken into the military police section, and they needed me as an instructor. So every duty station overseas and here at home, I taught martial arts for not only the United States Marine Corps, but the Navy, Orange County Sheriff, and Santa Ana.
When did you start learning the martial arts? I mean,
1960, from when I was 8 years old.
8. I mean, so your father waited till you were 8.
Well, we all started together.
Oh, I see.
And right after I started teaching, then I was taken and asked to go on to presidential security for the Nixon administration via El Toro Marine Base. And then I was put onto the marijuana dog handlers. And I went through a lot of arrests, military apprehensions, and I was the first person on the scene because they needed somebody. I could walk in, and even though we'd have 20, 30 MPs there, Marine Corps with shotguns, M203s, M16s, 45s, I'd walk in with nothing. And I wasn't there to take reports, I was there to handle the situation. As soon as the people saw me, they understood what was going on, everybody went quiet, everybody smiled, and whatever rest needed to be done, it was done very quietly and peacefully. They obviously saw confidence, and I meant business when I came in, but I smiled the whole time.
The laughing assassin is always good. Reminds me of one of those books that they read. So, in other words, like, this force can be used like consciously. I mean,
absolutely.
That's the way you would look at it.
Yes, absolutely. With that confidence feeling, you can take on the world now. You can take on a career. You've succeeded in doing something. By succeeding in doing something, if you're handicapped or just underprivileged or just the general person, and when you succeed, now I did this. I've got it in my grasp. I can do things. I can either break bricks, I can do the martial art, I can do the kata, I can go to tournaments, and I can win trophies now because I've been taught. And now we can take that through life and start being very, very confident in our work, our structure, our schooling, through education, and start succeeding. And it really does start from an early age in life. And if you don't, it may create problems later.
And in your process, there's no division in terms of race or color, religion. Somebody needs his help.
Absolutely not. A child is a child. It doesn't matter.
Is a child. Yeah. How do you think? I mean, you've had a lot of experience in different areas. How do we get to the place where all this division happens, and this child isn't worth as much as the other child? And
that's wrong. This child needs more work than the other child. This child needs more of my time than the other child.
Well, sometimes it's even more that, this child is a black child, or a kike child, or a nigger child, or, we get it. I mean, we do it for adults, we do it for children. There's something that happens, that religion, this religion, and that, our religion child is worth more than that religion child. Our color child is worth more than that.
Not in martial arts.
Not
martial arts. We are all one, just like this heaven and earth, the oneness. It's the same thing. It's the same philosophy. We're all one. So the only child that needs a little bit more help is the one that's a little bit slower than the other one. either mentally or physically or emotionally. And that's the child that needs more time with us as an instructor and to give from our heart and to make.
So in other words, I mean, that philosophy of the oneness just filters in. If it's not in every class, it's vibrating in every class. If it's not said in every class.
That's right.
So I mean, somebody looks around one of your classes, and every race, every religion, almost every age of children is there, being loved and being helped and being...
All the way to the elderly. We have Mr. Romano, he was
it's never too late to have a happy
childhood. He was 67 years old when he came to us. By the time he was 72, he became a black belt. He was a diplomat for the Philippine government. So he was a government official, but when he came, a very small, very frail little man. At the internationals, he took up 20 black belts.
Wow.
When he first got his black belt, and he was surprised because he didn't.
I mean, was they the same age as him? Is there an age bracket?
No,
just
there was
the number of black belts.
There was a bunch of military and just men in general. A lot of big muscular guys attacked him with sabers, attacked him with sais, nunchucks.
Really?
And he just stood there with the staff, and he took everybody out. He was a little bit too excessive and too excited because he caught my dad between the legs, and he went down. Somebody had pulled out a knife like this, and it was just a soft butter knife, but he'd hit somebody so hard with it that they actually sliced their face with it, and it was very real. At the internationals, there was real blood being shed there, but he was so surprised that right after that,
good thing we're not doing a demonstration with the host here.
Yes. So he was very surprised when they gave him his black belt, and they did it in front of thousands of people in front of cameras. So it was a very, very motivating experience for him.
Wow, that's fantastic. So I mean, and it's really fulfilling for you to just see the openness and the growth and the recognition of that love and that oneness and all these varieties of ages and children and diseases and disabilities and races and color.
Right. There's a way to help everybody, and for the children that are out there, they really need to understand that, and if they need our help, we're there. We'll be there.
All right, well, I think what we'll do now is we ready for the video? Yeah, okay, good. So we're going to show the second video, and then we'll come back with Steve. It's One Bright Day. It's a beautiful video, life, love, and earth, filmed by Carlos. So whenever you're ready, One Bright Day.
There's more to life mama, I know. Oh, mama, mama, I know. Oh, mama, yeah.
Hi, well, they're all our children, so let's remember that. See, besides doing martial arts with children, you also do equestrian things and other, types of activities that bring children in and bring them into that experience.
Yes, it's called the Right On Foundation. They have a place, a stables area in Chatsworth in the San Fernando Valley and Thousand Oaks. And there's 15 horses at the Thousand Oaks facility off of Lynn Road and the 101 freeway. And it's to bring the children to give them experience live on horses. And it's very, very a wonderful experience for the children. Some of them that never speak or do things or say things, all of a sudden they get very excited about, oh God, I'm on this big animal, and it's a major experience for those children, really. And it's very, very fulfilling to see the expression on their face when their face lights up like stars. And
Really?
It's wonderful.
Yeah, I've heard, I don't know if you've done that, but the people who've been on the show have done it with dolphins and children. And they say the same, that kids just, that unconditional love and that purity, So, and you see that with horses and just time and time again.
That's right.
And is this an ongoing program that
Yes,
if somebody wanted to call us up, then we could put them in touch with you for their children?
Yes. Or they can just call the Right On Foundation, like I said, in Thousand Oaks or Canoga or Chatsworth.
And that's just set up to allow children to come into contact with horses and experience that with experienced riders and safety conditions.
That's right, absolutely.
Wow.
And they're from horses to ponies. So they come in all sizes and they're for all ages. And it's very good for the kids.
Wow. So what other projects are you working on that allow you to be in contact with children and bring them that confidence and that experience of love and oneness?
Well, every year I MC the Tri-Valley Special Olympics that are held at Glendale High School. And this is usually around March. And this is hundreds of children that are handicapped, and the winners will move on in a couple of months later, and will be with Maria Shriver
and Arnold. Arnold's
right.
video.
And so it's the same.
Make my day.
It's the same people that put this on, do the bigger Olympics.
Oh, so they do it different parts of the country, and then
it moves on.
Wow.
Also, the Stagecoach Indian Museum in Newberry Park off of Venture Park Road. That's 1876. So we have a lot of school children that come in there. I'll be dressed anywhere from Wyatt Earp to a sheriff to a regular old gunslinging cowboy, or Captain Brittles of the 7th Cavalry as a John Wayne impersonator. And we bring up the similarities of what had happened in 1876, 2.5 weeks after the demise of Custer at the Little Bighorn, was the building and the finishing and the opening of the Stagecoach Indian Museum. And a lot of people don't see it because it's actually down under a hill and there's a bunch of trees in front. So as soon as you go down the hill, down the driveway, all of a sudden there's this giant 2-story, beautiful Victorian building, a lot of cowboy things in there. There's for the men, there's the stagecoaches and the different buildings that go from a ranch house down to the adobe house, down to the Chumash village, which is called an app. There's botanical gardens that go throughout the whole place and beautiful walkways. Talking rocks, you push a button and a rock starts to speak to you. Of course, it's my voice. And then the museum itself, which is a very large building that went from a hotel to a restaurant to various things, that's still standing. And the Timber Skull that used to be on Westlake and Agoura, where is now a restaurant there, but they tore down the school. And while they were tearing down another building years back, they found these blueprints of the school and the Cal Lutheran Church, and the students came in, and for a couple of semesters, they rebuilt the school exactly board for board, everything the way it looked like, and a lot of the desks, the chalkboards, everything were donated of that same time period. So when you walk into that actual school, you're actually back in 1889, which is very wonderful for the children to visit, and they come out there. And of course, we talk about the ghost, which is Pierre Devon, who had passed on while he was at the Stagecoach Inn, and we make fun of it and have good times with that because he's a nice ghost.
So, I mean, you have an interesting history and energy, because I mean, you have Indian roots, and like you're a cowboy in Indians. It's like, where do you go? Who do you root for? But I mean, it's all one. So yes. I mean, know, I'm joking about that, but you do have that, right? I mean, you do have that kind of sense.
Well, yes, it was, like I said, my grandfather, who was a pure Yaqui Indian, was a cowboy, and they gave him the name of Akera later in life, and that's what was my mom's maiden name. So, yes.
So, I mean, has there ever been in your growing up or your experience any conflict between that? Because that's like one of the separations that on Earth, there is some separation. Cowboys and Indians, whites and Indians, what the whites did to the Indians, what the cowboys did to the Indians, what the Indians did to Custer, all that craziness that existed.
Not in our family, because we're half and half. So we'd be just choking ourselves, right?
Oh my God, It would be a hell of a mess.
No, we've looked at it and we thought about it, and there's the only thing that we could do is help the community and let them understand we're all one. Right. It doesn't matter what religion, what color or ethnic background you have, we're still all one. If we were to be attacked from outer space, a meteor or something, we have to get together as a world and become one to try to counteract that problem. And when that happens, then the humankind will understand we are brothers.
That would be a quick lesson.
Yes,
brother.
Absolutely.
You think it'll have to come to that?
I hope not. I think that we should do it ourselves.
Let me ask you, in your experience, and you have vast experience in a lot of different places, in a lot of different ways, do you see the evolution in that experience of oneness, that vibration of oneness, that understanding of that? Do you see it becoming more real, even in times where it looks like more war, more famine, more... I mean, what is
Absolutely. We were brought up in East Los Angeles. Then during our early teenage years, we were moved to the Watts, and we're right in the middle of the Watts riots. And after seeing all that and what we're doing today and how the people are today, we've gone a millennium of education and how to grow together and how to become one and how to understand one another. There's still a few people that are a little slow.
There are a couple out there.
Yes, there are.
They're probably not watching the show tonight, but one never knows.
That's right. But it is coming to pass, and we're seeing it a lot, especially in the martial art world.
Did your grandfather ever have prophecies? There have been a lot of prophecies about, from the Indian tradition, from the Indian tradition. A lot of traditions have, this time is the time, and then 2012. Did you ever hear that from your grandfather?
Well, as he spoke to me when I was 9 years old and we were in the Arizona desert, he talked about the history and the ancestors. He talked about the present, and he talked about the future, all as one. Mm-hmm. How it all is still the same no matter what. How rocks are alive, trees are alive, how the humans should react and care for Mother Earth and take care of one another, whether they're an animal or a fellow human being. And so it's...
but he didn't have any specific, because time was irrelevant, especially up there.
He was a cowboy.
Right. So it didn't really
He was an Indian and a cowboy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way, but I mean, on Earth time, people have certain, times and prophecies, and, not that it matters, we're still here in this moment.
That's right.
So where do you see, do you see these programs expanding, and that, they do start, not you going to every school in the United States or even every school in LA, but that program, your program of martial arts,
Absolutely.
You see that expanding?
Yes, I do. Absolutely. It's hard to turn down a child. If the child really needs or wants the martial arts and just can't afford it, talk to that local martial arts school instructor one-on-one, and I'm sure they'll bring a tear to that person's
of any
right
format,
right.
any.
If they don't, then that martial art instructor isn't following the philosophy that was taught to him by his instructors.
So at the root of every martial art is that oneness, that
That's right.
caring, that compassion, that service, to
That's
be
right.
of service.
That's right. It's not all money. It's
not all money, and it's not all full contact and.
That's right. There's a lot of other things, and it's to make, like I said, it's to make one confident, because you may never have a conflict ever in life. It's how you carry yourself. If you're weak, you're sickly, it's just like a pack of wolves are going to go after that lame one. If you're confident, even if you're handicapped and you walk with confidence, you act confident, you know what you're doing.
You vibrate.
Right, that's right.
That's right. You're not afraid.
That's right. And they could tell the moment that somebody makes contact with you, you'll talk with that confident manner, no matter what your situation is.
Well, that's beautiful. I mean, that, to me, I mean, like we started the show tonight, I mean, if we could start reaching the children so that we wouldn't teach children to be suicide bombers, we wouldn't teach children of the differences and the hate and the, all those things that we grow up and then we have a world of division, we have a world in war and, poverty in one pocket of the world. And I mean, I always used to, say that, we can get arms all over the world, but we can't get grain or water to the starving places wherever they are, because we don't feel the connection. We don't feel that we're feeding our children.
That's right.
And, so that's the problem. How do we cure the root of that? And to start with children so they don't develop that craziness. I mean, that's just a really extraordinary, you're very fortunate to be able to do that.
Well, thank you.
And you feel fortunate.
Yes. Yes, and tomorrow when I go down to see this program with the horses, to actually watch how volunteers are going through a training program with the children, it's also rewarding too, because it helps. And I'll be teaching martial arts there also for free to parents and the children.
And do you, besides teaching, do you still do the trainings?
Yes.
All the time?
Yes. It's part of your life.
It's what, I know.
And my children that have become black belts, my family, brothers, sisters, my mom's a black belt. Our whole family is.
Really?
Yes.
That's really something. That's very cool. And so, you don't have full contact with the whole team, do you? Sometimes?
Sometimes we did when we were younger.
I'll
yes.
bet you did, but was it always within the rules, or was it always?
No,
was it sometimes
the rules were bent when it comes to brothers
family,
and sisters.
Right,
Yes.
right. That always is the case. Yes. How many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have two of each.
Two of each.
Yes, and I was the youngest.
So everyone was telling you what to do. I
was just the dummy. I was the one who got the punching bag.
Right.
Yeah.
So, that's funny. And so are they all involved in these kind of programs too?
No, what they did is they went their different ways, and I'm the only one that's stayed with the martial arts and continued it. They got their first degree black belt. Then they would send their children to my dad's studio, and either I taught or my dad would teach. And he still.
Do you have your own dojo now?
No, I teach from at my dad's studios,
Oh, you do?
and my dad teaches 6 days a week still. So,
Still?
yes.
With 4 heart attacks?
No, that was Tino. That was Tino Tila.
Okay.
My dad is teaching at the Gold's Gym, and in La Habra and La Mirada and a few other places. And so this way, as a student, you get the use of the whole gymnasium without my dad having the overhead.
Right.
And so it kind of works out a win-win situation for both the people at Gold's Gym and
well, I mean,
my
Gold's
dad's
Gym,
students.
that would be an interesting concept, because, Gold's Gyms are all over.
That's
every
right.
city.
That's
so
right.
if somehow they can institute these kind of programs.
That's right.
And do they do that?
Yes, they do.
They
Yes,
have
they do.
those kind of programs?
Yes, they do.
Wow. I didn't know Gold's Gym actually did anything good, in that way. It's really nice to see. So, in other words, their corporate management believes in that and believes in making their facilities and their teachers available to the disabled and the poor on a...
Well, the ones that we work with, yes. I can't speak for all of them.
All of them.
Right.
But they all have
I don't know.
martial arts
Yes.
programs. But you don't know if they're run the same way you are.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
That's all right. Wow, that's fantastic. So, I mean, where do you see yourself personally, moving? I mean, just doing more of it, being more available?
Yes, being constant of what I've been doing in the past and what I'm still continuing to do in the future. I'll never stop teaching the underprivileged and handicapped children, ever.
And do you see yourself like being an intermediary to teach people to go out, go out and go and prosper and go out and do the same thing you do?
Absolutely, because it is part of the martial arts. There's this philosophy of how to be a human, how to work with a fellow man, how to be able to talk to him, how to stop a conflict when you see a situation coming in, how to turn the cheek and walk away to keep from having that conflict. If you're backed in a corner and there's just absolutely no way out, you're the winner, and you need to be able to have that confidence to be able to do that. So that's part of
and
the
the
teaching.
humbleness to walk away until
Right.
you're absolutely backed into a
Right,
corner.
and that's what you always have to walk away from a situation, always, because there's always a better way. It's either with talking, changing, or becoming friends, talking to a parent, talking to a teacher, and bringing the problem to focus with a parent, with an adult, so that this can stop.
Do you find that an easy understanding or in a transition for kids, who grow up and the way to have confidence is to be bad and to have that attitude of, I'm not going to walk away. I'm never going to back down. That you're in my space. That you don't respect me. And then I gotta, shoot you, cut your head off. All the things that happen in.
That child needs our lessons.
And do you see that they're open to them, or you have to have a process that takes?
What we do is that when we have a bad child, and sometimes we do get a few, we take them through the lessons. By the time we're finished with a very advanced lesson with that one child in an hour or 2 hour period, when we're done, that child wants to become part and continue. Therefore, he wants to do good. And if he doesn't do good, we don't get the good report from the parent, the teacher, the principal. Therefore, the class ends for that child. And if he wants to continue on, then the philosophy, the meditation, the learning, the confidence all rolls in and becomes part of that person.
And would you say the success rate is extraordinarily high in this
Absolutely.
world that we live in?
Absolutely. We haven't had any failures yet.
Really, everyone wants to continue.
Everybody.
Wow, that is unbelievable. I mean, with all the stuff that goes on and all the, he dits me and I gotta, do you get gang people in? I mean, you're in that area
Yes.
where gang people
Yes,
exist.
we do. And we turn them around also. We see, the thing is that they want to be a fighter. They want to be somebody. They want to be able to go
They
out
want to
and
be respected.
Right.
Feel
So,
respect for themselves.
What do? We make them a fighter, professional fighters, and we take them out and they learn how to fight for trophies. And when they become full contact fighters, then they fight for money. If you're really as good as you want to be, you're going to be a winner and you're going to make money at it and be a professional fighter. Or you can be an instructor.
But you won't do it with anger. You won't do it with
That's
hate.
right. That's right.
You'll do it with.
That's right. What obviously is happening is that they want to be somebody big. They want to show somebody that they can do something, whether they're being bad and beating up the smaller and being a bully. They get into martial arts, they're getting fight after fight after fight, and it's in a controlled situation. But by the time we're done with you, you've been into so many battles and conflicts with your fellow students and with instructor and student, you're pretty well worn out. You don't want to be the fighter anymore. So it depends on the person. But we've taken some really bad kids and turned them around and made some champions out of these kids. And they've become things like police officers, paramedics, firemen, and working for the community. And they've done well. Some of them are now teachers in schools. And we've been at it for quite a while, 43 years.
Wow, you're at it.
Yes.
It's even longer than we've been doing the show. I have to say, although sometimes it seems like we've been doing it a long time, almost that long. So how do you see it, like with the proliferation of guns, and I mean, not only just guns, but like AK-40, almost in schools and high schools, and with the drugs and heroin and cocaine. I mean, how does that affect everything?
Well, if we can get more programs into the schools and more instructors, if they've seen this program and they want to really help, they should go into the schools and ask if they can volunteer their time to help the children, find out if there is a problem out there, because that's what the kids are doing. They're so afraid that somebody's going to beat them up that they wind up arming themselves with something, and therefore they're breaking the law. If they took the martial arts, whether they're the good kid or the bad kid, they could also learn that philosophy and learn to be confident and learn not to know what is right and what is wrong. Having a weapon in school or any place is absolutely wrong, no matter what, because without instruction, you may wind up using it, and therefore you'll regret it after the fact. You're young, you use a knife or a gun or anything, the next thing you know, you're in jail for the rest of your life. You're in prison, and you have no life from that point on. Had they been educated while they were young, went through these programs, whether they could afford them or not, and still was able to be there for those kids, it's part of that training, part of that philosophy and that education of this is not right and this is right. And that's what we're trying to do.
So you would say that those issues, in a way, of right and wrong just become all clouded and
Absolutely.
all whacked out of shape?
Lack of education is what the problem is. So what we need to do is bring forth that proper education.
With people they respect, and respect their physical capabilities, their confidence, their spiritual connection.
Absolutely.
Wow. Yeah, that's, I mean, like I said earlier, I mean, if we don't reach the children and they end up suicide bombing or arming themselves or seeing all the separations or, the gang colors, I mean, the same race, everything is the same except you live in the other part of town. It's so stupid in a way, the way we divide everything up.
Yes, it is.
And so for you to come in and bring that oneness and that confidence in is just a really wonderful thing. So congratulations.
Well, thank you.
So I guess we're coming to the end of the show. It was fantastic. I'm really glad you could come tonight. So, let me just say that if anybody wants any information on Steve or Carlos, call me, Alan, 805-687-2053. That's Alan, 805-687-2053. For all of us, they're all our children. And so whatever we're doing in this world, in this life, as we proceed, as we move on, if we could remember when we were children and how we wanted to be loved, how we wanted to be healthy, how we wanted to care. I mean, we've talked so much on the show about that everybody just wants to feel love and share it, but can you imagine for a child? So again, we have the opportunity. I mean, all of us in one small way, large way, have the opportunity to bring that love, to expand our love just one more level, one more octave, and to recognize, again, that we are all the same love. So thank you, good night. Thanks, Steve, thank Carlos. We love you. Thanks for all your calls. Good night.